Do not worry about your life. Lesson over. Let's all go home. You're not supposed to clap at that, husband. You know, I always want these words that Jesus speaks to be easy to embrace. Do not worry. But the truth is, they are not easy, are they? It's okay, you can nod or shake your head. Don't worry about what your neighbor is thinking. You see what I did there? Today's readings look at the value God places on all animals and all plants, on all the creatures of the earth. Both of the readings try to convince us that God cares for us and that we need not worry. But they each go at it a bit differently. The first passage has God hurling humbling words at Job in response to Job's questions and accusations against God. Do I have any Game of Thrones fans out there? Okay, we got a couple. I imagine God saying to Job some version of Egret's wise words. You know nothing, Jon Snow. In the second passage, Jesus is assuring the disciples that they need not worry. God cares for the birds and the lilies and the grass. God also cares for humans, maybe even more. The first passage hurls humbling words that say, you know nothing, human being. You worry and pity yourself, but I care for all of creation. I know exactly what's going on in all of creation. While the second passage assures us that God takes care of all creation and puts emphasis on human priority, that God will take care of us. Both passages speak wisdom. God asks Job if he knows about the animals. Yada in Hebrew. It means to know, to learn to know, to use one's mind, to be acquainted with. And then consider, Jesus says in the second reading, kataneo in Greek. It means perceive, remark, observe, understand, fix one's eyes and attention on. Wisdom functions to help us perceive, to help us recognize God's creation in a way that is different from our status quo, in a way that interrupts our worries and our self-pity and turns our focus outward, in a way that encourages us to see how our presence, our role in creation, could potentially affect all the rest of creation. It is that age-old metaphor of a stone being dropped into a lake. The ripples spread from the spot where it enters the water, affecting everything it touches, down to the tiniest wave that laps onto the shore once it finally gets there. We may not be able to see it, but it does affect everything. I think this is why Jesus places priority on us as human beings when he tells the disciples not to worry. It's also why he ends his teaching with strive for God's kingdom, and these things will be given to you as well. We talk a lot about loving our neighbors as ourselves, but even those to whom Jesus reiterates this teaching struggle to understand who these neighbors are. Today's readings are telling us that all of creation qualify as our neighbors. We affect everything we touch. Therefore, we must be mindful of our touch as we strive for God's kingdom. During the Word and Wonder for All Ages, we learned that all God's critters got a place in the choir. And y'all did very, very well. Thank you. Not only do we affect everything we touch, every part of creation affects every other part of creation. Think about the last time you spent time at the beach, or the mountains, or walking and really observing the way everything interlocks and interacts. If you haven't done that in a while, I would encourage you as you leave this sanctuary to pay attention. Pay attention to what's around you. Or maybe think about your happy place or your place of peace. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes with me for a minute, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my place of peace. For me, I go back to a moss-covered mountainside in southwest Colorado, where I backpacked during a seminary course. Y'all, I can still feel the warmth of the sun on the back of my neck and the coolness of the breeze at the same time. I can still hear the sounds of the birds' wings flapping, not even the song that they make, just their wings flapping, and the wind blowing gently, ever so gently, through the branches of the spruce trees and the leaves of the aspen. I can still smell the sweet smell of the pine and spruce mixed with the smell of dew in the earth, in the dirt and the soil. I can still feel that peace, knowing that everything, all of creation fits together and serves some purpose, that all of creation has a place and has meaning. You can open your eyes. Jesus tells us not to worry because we are prone to just that, worrying. And God strives so deeply, so profoundly to redeem us of our worrying and our destruction of the delicate balance provided to us. Jesus tells us to strive for God's kingdom because he knows who we are and how we worry, and how that worry drives us to pillage and plunder and to hoard God's great creation as natural resources. Resources, meaning that they are just there for us to use and use up, paying no mind to who or what it affects. Do not worry, Jesus says, for though you could never be as cute as a baby panda or a tiger cub, and though things may not be quite as convenient as you would like, God will care for you. just as God cares for all of the rest of creation. Amen.